Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this jumpsuit with no waist joining. If this is what you're interested in, keep watching, like, share and subscribe. Thank you. So to get started, I folded my fabric into four. I folded into four and I've already marked out the length of my jumpsuit. So I'll go over now to the folded part of this fabric, the part that does not have opening. I'll go ahead and mark out 4 inches on it all the way to the hem of my jumpsuit. I'll just mark 4 inches all the way down. This 4 inches will serve as my crotch extension. So I'll just go ahead and mark it out all the way down. And then I'll roll a line. Please use a ruler. Don't be like me so that you can have a straight line. Use a ruler to mark it all the way down. Then I'll come over to my neck point and take my horizontal measurements, my shoulder to apex, my shoulder to half length, and my shoulder to hip, and the rest of it. So I'll just start taking that measurement now. So my shoulder to apex is 9 inches. I'm going to mark 9.5 inches. My shoulder to waist is 17 inches, so I'm marking 17.5 inches. My waist to hip measurement is 9, but here I want to put my crotch length first. So to get the crotch length, divide your hip by 4, whatever you have, add 1 to it and add extra 3 inches to it. Hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 and extra 3 inches, or you can ignore that 1 inch and just mark 3 inches, it will work. So that was what I marked there, and I went ahead to mark my waist to hip measurement. So the lines I marked here are my shoulder to bust points, shoulder to half length, waist to hip measurement, and waist to crotch length. On that crotch extension line, I will just extend the line out into the 4 inches that we marked before, and I will go over there to mark my crotch extension. Now for the extension, I divided my hip measurement divided by 4. Whatever you have there, just mark it on that point. For me, I got 3.6 and I marked it there. I'll just follow that line all the way down because we don't want any fitting on the lower part. So let's go over to work on the upper part. So I'll go over now and start my measurements from this 4, after the 4 inches line there. That's where it was. That's now measurements from. So I'm going to start by placing my shoulder divided by 2 plus half inch, and then I'll did a shoulder slant of 1 inch, and I marked my armhole length, and the armhole length I used for this is 7 inches. I just marked it there and connected the line. I went up by 1 inch on the L-shaped mark there, and on the midpoint of my armhole length I came out by half inch and connected it this way. Just watch properly and then you get to understand. For my neckline, I did 2.5 by 2.5 for the front, and for the back I did 2.5 by 1 inch. We're cutting both back and front together. Then I went ahead to join it to the shoulder measurement. I joined the line from the neck point to the shoulder slant. I went ahead to put my bust measurement divided by 4. I added 2 inches for ease, and I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. I added 2 inches for it because I don't want it to be fitted around any part of my body. I just want it to be very free. But if you want yours to be fitted, you can go ahead and reduce the quantity of ease measurements you're adding. So for the hip measurements, I added my hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches for ease and 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I'll just connect it straight like this, but if you want it fitted at the waistline, you can go ahead to put your waist measurement divided by 4 and do all that thing. So this line is just to show you what it look like when you want it to be curvy at the waist point. So but I don't want this, I'll use my own straight line, but if you want it, you can go ahead and do that. So I'll just go over to the crotch length, and whatever I have for my hip measurement, I'm going to place it there like this. And remember, I'm starting from the 4 inches, after the 4 inches mark, and I'm just going to take it all the way down to the end of the jumpsuit. We just take that line from the hip line all the way down to the end of the jumpsuit. Sorry, the end of my jumpsuit is not showing, but I'm going to show you while I'm cutting it. So this is what it is. Then we're going to go ahead and add seam allowances for joining the crotch line and joining the front together. So I'm just adding 1/2 inch all the way. You can also use this for the back if you want to add zip up to your dress. If you want it fitted, it means that you're going to add zipper to the dress, but if you don't want it fitted, this method is okay. So I'll just go ahead and add 1/2 inch all the way around it. If you're going to add your zipper, your 1/2 inch will stop somewhere around the hip line. That's where your zip will start from, or where it will end rather. So but I am not going to attach a zipper today, so I'll just go ahead and mark 1/2 inch all the way through to the crotch extension. Our neckline, we want the neckline to be a bit gathered. I want it to have a little bit of gather there, so I went over to my neckline. I marked 5 inches width, and then I connected it back to my 2.5. Then because I don't want my armhole to be too wide or too deep, so I just came up by 1 inch at that my armhole point and connected it the way we usually connect our halter neck, connected it to that 5 inches point like so. So I'll just go ahead and cut this one off. Remember, our back is the one with the 1 inch and the front is the one with the 2.5. So we'll cut our back first before cutting the front. So I'm just adding my seam allowances all around, and I'll go ahead and get my scissors and start cutting. So I'm going to cut from the down, or cutting towards the upper part. Just watch carefully to see how we'll cut out this pattern. So go over now, cut the back neckline, and then take out 2 pieces from it, which will serve as the front, and cut off the front neckline. So this is it, we're done cutting. This is what it looks like when we're done cutting, and it's looking fine, though we've not started sewing. So I wanted to add a pocket to this jumpsuit. I went to the waistline. Sorry, I'm marking the hip line on this video, but I later changed it. It's supposed to be 1 inch below my waistline, 1 inch below the waistline. I'll mark that part and then get my fabric to cut out my pocket. For the pocket, I just marked round, placed my hands like this, and I marked it round like this. I made sure that the length of the pocket is around 7 to 8 inches, and then I just marked it all the way around. So I went ahead to cut it out like so. I folded this fabric into 4, so we're going to have 4 pieces, 1 for each side, 1 for each side of the front, 1 for each side of the back, just like that. You see how I'm going to place them. So I'm just making sure that they are all equal. So I'm done cutting, and I went ahead to notch that part. Please note it is 1 inch below the waistline, 1 inch below the waistline. So I went to my sewing machine and I went ahead to sew down this 1/2 inch I marked around the crotch area for the front and also for the back, because we're not going to have a zipper for it, but we'll open up the back later. But for now, let's just go ahead and stitch them down and bring it to show you back what it looks like. So I have sewn it. I've stitched the back and the front as well. See, I've stitched them. So I'll go ahead now to fix my pockets before I join them together. So for the pockets, I'll look for my notch. I'll look for where I notched it initially, and then I'll just place it right side facing each other like this from the place I notched, and I'll stitch half inch. I'll do the same thing to the other side, and to the back as well I'll do the same thing, and I'll do it now and come and show you what it looks like. So this is it. I've fixed the pockets on each side of the bodies, the front and the back. I also went ahead to use the fabric to turn the armhole area. I use it to bias it like a bias, and for the back I opened it up at the back so that it will be easier for us to wear. Here I opened it up around 7 inches, but I will advise you open it up to 15 inches because I later had to open it up all the way. So I'll just place this right side facing each other, and then I'll go ahead and sew 1 inch all around from the top all the way to the down part. I'll just outline it with my hand so that you see where I'm talking about. I'm making sure that they're laying flat. So I'll go this way all the way, making sure that they're equal, and I'll use my pins to hold this down so that they won't be moving around anyhow. So I'll go like this, 1 inch all the way down, and at the inseam here I'm going to use half inch to stitch here. So I'll go and stitch it both sides and come to show you what it looks like. So this is it. I have stitched it. I've stitched both, and this is what my pocket is looking like. So this is it. I've stitched it. Then we'll go over now to work on the neckline. Like I said, that back opening, please make sure you have opened it more than what I did. I opened this one around 9 inches, but make sure you open it like 15 inches. Then tape it down like this, tape it down, and then let's work on the neckline. So for the neckline, I went ahead to run a gather stitch, and I gathered it. See, I gathered it, the front neckline. I also gathered the back neckline as well. So for the front neckline, I made sure that it was no more than 5 inches. If you're a plus size or if you're more than size 8, you should be having like 6 inches to 7 inches, but for a smaller size, 5 inches in front is okay. And for the back, I just divided that 5 into 2, which is 2.5 for each sides of the back. That was what I gathered them to be, 2.5. Same thing with this side, 2.5. So I cut a very long strip for my band. It will serve as my band and the belt to tie at the back, at the neckline there. I'm just going to let it drop. So for this band, I made it wide. The wideness of this band is around 5 inches wide. So I marked the midpoint, and then I marked my half of my neck measurement. My neck measurement is 15 inches, and half of the neck measurement is 7.5. So because this is folded into 2, I just notched that 7.5. Just watch carefully. I folded into 2, notched the midpoint, marked half of my neckline. My neckline measurement is 7 inches, so you need to measure your neckline. So I also went ahead to my front bodies, and I'm notching the neckline too of my front body. So I'm going to match the neck point, midpoint of the neckline, and the midpoint of this my strap. I'll match the two together, and I'll stitch it down. This is just a simple technique I usually use to do this type of necklines, so I don't have to stress myself with calculating how I'm going to do it. So this other notch at this side will also be the end point of the back neckline. So we're going to start that one at the back, at the end point of it. I don't know if you understand me. That's that notch we made is the end of the neckline for the back. So I'm going to just go ahead and sew it and bring it to show you what I mean. Maybe when you see it you understand better. So you see, all of it is going to be 15 inches from the back to the, from this one side of the back to the other side of the back. It's going to be 15 inches. So I hope you understand how I made that neckline. But if you don't understand, you can as well comment in the comment section and I'll do a separate tutorial for that. So I'll just go ahead and fold this into two like this and use it to cover the rough edges on the neckline, and then continue the stitch all the way down. So I have done it here. See, I use it to turn the rough edges, and then I continue the stitch all the way and close the ends of my belt. I close the end of my belt. I've gone ahead to iron it out, and this actually the end of my tutorial. I put a zipper, but it's not really necessary because there was no use for the zipper, so just ignore that zipper part. And I went ahead to also fold the hem of the jumpsuit, and that's basically all. I'll just go ahead and put this on and let's see what it came out to be like. All right, so this is it. This is what it looks like. This is the neck point. This is the pocket. The pocket is like an inseam pocket. This is what the back looks like with the extension of the belt. I just tied it there, and this is basically it. I also went ahead to cut a belt for the waist. I'll just go ahead and tie, and it's looking all fine. So this is how it came out. If this tutorial was helpful, give it a thumbs up, like, share, comment, please subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye.